It was just like any other testing day in 5th grade. My teacher said, "Get out your number 2 pencils, make sure you bubble in your answer completely on the Scantron." I started to fill out my name and the date. When I came to the race section, my teacher walked by my desk and said, "You might want to ask your parents which bubble they want you to fill in." I thought to myself, what is she talking about? Shouldn't I fill in the bubble that says white? So I left it blank and asked my parents about it later that night. They told me they wanted me to fill in the bubble that says Hispanic, since my mom is from Puerto Rico. I always knew my mom was from Puerto Rico, but had never identified my mom as being another race or myself as being biracial. My mom never spoke Spanish in our house, and even when my grandparents spoke Spanish to her, my mother would always respond back in English. I remember always asking my mom, what did they say? Because I didn't know any Spanish. I began to ask my mom more questions about Puerto Rico and the Hispanic culture she grew up in. She told me about Puerto Rican food and showed me her Puerto Rican cookbook. Some of the foods I was already familiar with from visits to my grandparents' house, and I loved them, like my grandmother's arroz con pollo and tostones. And some of it I could never acquire a taste for, like pasteles and flan. Yuck. My mother showed me pictures of quinceañeras she attended. A quinceañera is the celebration of a Latina girl's 15th birthday, marking her passage from childhood to womanhood, similar to a sweet 16 birthday party, but much more elaborate. I remember asking my mom if I could have one when I turned 15, and she said no. My mother also told me I had visited my grandparents in Puerto Rico when I was just a toddler, but I was too young to remember. Shortly after that visit, my grandparents moved to Florida. I didn't return to Puerto Rico until I was 15. During my trip, I met some of my relatives for the first time, like my Titi Elsie and Titi Monsine. We call our aunt Titi, which is short for Tia. I remembered seeing pictures of my mom at El Morro, a 16th century citadel in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and I tried to take a picture in the same location, and again during another trip when I was 28. So now whenever I fill out any applications or paperwork and come to the race question, I always mark Hispanic and think about my 5th grade teacher and the day she helped me identify part of who I am.